Torsion is another important limit state of collapse, just like shear and flexure. In addition to flexure and shear, the reinforced concrete elements are also sometimes subjected to torsion. A section subjected to only torsion is rarely found. Loads acting normal to the plane of bending in case of beams and slabs give rise to bending moments and shear force. However, when the loads act away from the plane of bending at an eccentricity, then this will induce torsion in members. For example, consider a small beam which is cantilevered from this beam, which is getting support from the column, and this support can be considered as fixed. Now the negative moment which is going to be there in this cantilever beam is going to induce torsional moment to this main beam. Next, this load is out of this plane of AB. This will also cause torsional moment in the member AB apart from moment and shear. We have this example of spandrel beam. The spandrel beam is the edge beam. If the stiffness of the spandrel beam is not taken into account, which is a usual case, there's not going to be any torsion in this beam. Now this beam can be considered as L beam also. However, if stiffness of beam is taken into account, the negative moment of the slab at this support point is going to give torsional moment to this spandrel beam. Next, in a circular beam which is supported on columns, in this case, because of the shape of the beam, torsional moment is induced. Same as the case with the curved beam also. There are many mechanisms by which torsion can be induced in reinforced concrete members during load transfer stage, that is, during the process of load transfer in the structural system. Depending upon the situation which induces torsion in reinforced concrete, torsion can be classified as primary torsion, which is also called as equilibrium torsion, and secondary torsion, which can be called as compatibility torsions. While considering torsion in reinforced concrete structures, it is useful to distinguish between primary and secondary torsions. Primary torsion or equilibrium torsion, or it can be also called as statically determinate torsion, exists when the external load has no alternative load path but must be supported by torsion. For such cases, the torsion required to maintain static equilibrium can be uniquely determined from statics alone. For example, here in the cantilever slab as shown here, the load which is coming to the slab surface is going to cause twisting moment to act along the length of the supporting beam. These have to be equilibrated by the resisting torque T provided at the columns. The structure will collapse if this beam is not designed for the applied torsional moments. Secondary torsion or compatibility torsion, also called as statically indeterminate torsion, occurs due to the requirement of continuity, that is, due to compatibility of deformation between the adjacent elements of a structure. So this type of torsion arises due to need of the member to undergo a certain angle of twist to maintain the compatibility conditions. Here, the twisting moments developed are dependent on torsional stiffness of the member, and these twisting moments are statically indeterminate, minor amount of which can be ignored in design due to multiple load paths available in statically indeterminate structure. For example, in this spandrel beam which is supporting the secondary beam, the amount of movement or the negative movement which is going to come at a secondary beam is going to be controlled by the rotation which the secondary beam is going to occur at the support. So if we release the moment at this particular point, it means you're allowing the entire rotation. That means torsional moment is not going to be transferred to the primary beam. But by releasing the moment, which it will indirectly increase the amount of reinforcement in secondary beam, because you are not getting any fixed moment. One more important point which one has to consider, if we disregard the compatibility torsion in the design, this is going to lead to extensive cracking, but it will not cause the collapse. The amount of torsion in the member is going to depend on its torsional stiffness in relation to the torsional stiffness of the interconnecting members. If this spandrel beam is torsionally stiff and suitably reinforced, and also if the columns can provide the necessary resisting torque, then the moment which will come from secondary beam to this beam will be approximate to that of the rigid exterior support moment. However, if the beam has little torsional stiffness and inadequate torsional reinforcement, this beam will twist and crack to further reduce its torsional stiffness. The plane of torsion is perpendicular to the plane of bending moment. Torsional moments are associated with shear stress in beam, and it is going to cause diagonal tension, thereby leading to spiral cracks. Now, to prevent the spiral crack, reinforcement actually has to be provided in the form of spirals along the direction of principal tensile stresses, and this is not actually possible. In addition, the behavior of concrete structure subjected to torsion is complicated and not clearly understood. So, as a simplification, the effect of torsion is split up into equivalent shear and equivalent bending moment. Thus, the provision of reinforcement is then simplified to vertical stirrups in addition to stirrups for diagonal tension induced due to vertical shear force, and longitudinal reinforcement in addition to the reinforcement required for bending moment.